Greetings. Just a quick note, filed under bad ideas I have, to which I'm going to subject my gaming group. Um, Current campaign is ending. It is sort of a mashup of my tabletop RPG with Magic Realm themed characters and powers. Because I'm obsessed with Magic Realm, as you might have noticed by the rest of the channel. And that game is ending. It's reaching its sort of last act here soon, and it's probably got a couple months to finish out. But then after that, we'll be looking for other things to do. And I mean, I have more possible tabletop campaigns, than I know what to do with. It rivals my where is it? Right there. It rivals my PS2 JRPG collection that I will also never get to in this lifetime. There's just more games to run than I have time to run it. But so I was thinking about all those options, and one thing sort of struck me that I really thought, oh, this would be great to do. It might be fun and a super change of pace. And it's probably a bad idea, but what I think I would like to run by my gaming group is that their characters are all various walks of life. Maybe you have a nobleman, maybe you have a street tough, maybe a circus performer, who the hell knows, right? Farmer, all different types of characters, and they're all going to effectively be players on a ragtag, thrown together Blood Bowl team. It's not going to exactly be Blood Bowl since that's not really suitable. It will be a game which we will play using normal tabletop combat rules and so on, right? And there's 7 players or 7 guys on the field, so it's like a rugby sevens with spiky gloves and I just tossed coverage on my board. No big deal. No big deal. And that's the idea, right? And so the game, I'm not picturing that they just play game after game after game, because that's a little boring. I think that gets very repetitive. So the game's going to be, they're going to have characters, they're going to have normal skills that you might see in any other tabletop game, but they're also going to have these game skills they're going to play, and the game then the campaign alternates between them traveling to different towns, obviously getting into trouble in those towns. I imagine that, the different teams go their separate ways. There's no set schedule, but the teams all sort of coerce or connive to make their own schedules and try to get an advantageous schedule for themselves. So there might be some diplomacy involved in who plays whom, when. Oh, we're going to lose to you. We were going to lose to you anyway because you guys are super skilled or whatever, but now we're all injured. So maybe we'll let you play as you go easy on us, and then we can heal up. Or, stuff like that, right? There's a little skullduggery. Maybe someone's spiking someone's food and making them sick before the game. Maybe someone's going and buying herbal supplements or doing the Barry Bonds or whatever. I don't know, right? Something like that. So there's a little bit of that going on, skullduggery. There might be the requirement to maybe take side jobs for ends meet. Certainly room for sort of lighthearted adventures. Maybe their kicker goes and busts up, a bar in town, and it gets thrown in jail the night before the game, and the group has to go in and rescue him or cut him out of the stocks or something before the game starts, and then bust it out of town as soon as they can after the game ends because the sheriff recognizes the guy. Stuff like that, right? So it's that. And so I figure you have sort of a couple game sessions where there's these goofy adventures, and then that all leads up to a set piece of the game. And then the game would be a long, and it'd be a set piece. It'd be and I think these games are going to be imposing set pieces because there's 7 players on a team. So 7 and 7, that's 14 combatants. These things last many, many turns, right? So I think that's the basic structure, and I could see where that would be awesome and fun, and I could see where that would go horribly wrong. And so I'm sort of deciding between, what I feel the probabilities are of each one of those. How's that? And what makes awesome more likely and horribly wrong less likely. So that's sort of where I am right now. Things I'm concerned about are obviously it is a repetitive campaign structure, right? You probably go from town to town. There's a lot of mingling with the other teams and talking to your patrons and getting equipment and maybe some training montages and probably a 1 or 2 situations that have to be resolved before the game comes to. And you do that, and they exercise all their skills that they have, and then the game. And the game's probably 1 or 2 sections of the game. Because again, these are set pieces, and I cannot imagine they're not going to last a while. So there's a repetitive sort of structure, which might be a little bit of a grind over time. Obviously, you have to be sort of bought into the idea of these giant set pieces, or else it's not going to be super fun, right? Like if you don't like the idea of playing freaking, a giant game of 7-on-7 Blood Bowl every couple weeks or every few weeks, I think you're going to not like this game. Those have, I think, the danger that they might go on a little too long. We'd have to, usually if a combat is going to outlive its usefulness or its excitement, then I'll just cut it off. I'll just say, okay, these guys surrender or they flee, and you're done because you beat them. And we're done. And it only lasted 3 rounds, and you had it won. So why play 3 more rounds? These sort of aren't like that. They sort of last a certain amount of time, and you have to either reconcile how you're going to end them. What are the forfeit rules? Is there any penalty? And if there's no penalty, can you exploit those in some fashion? So there's a little bit of that, and what happens if you're like up by 3 touchdowns or down by 3 touchdowns, and then you're still playing for another 3 hours or 2 hours or something? I don't know how long, but you know what I mean, right? Normally, you can just cut it short. Say, okay, scene fades to black, and next thing you know, you're in the Baron's dungeon. Good luck with that. This isn't quite that. Now you could, but you do have to figure out how that works and what that means. I'm a little worried about that. A little worried about the size of these things. It's 14 characters for, currently the thing is 16 turns, possibly. And I think that's a good length for the game as a game goes, but it might not be a good length as a role-playing session. So have to consider that. And that might just be something that you just go, look, we're going to have 3 sessions and then these 2-session giant things. And if it sucks, if it's not going to work out, then we'll call them after one and just make up the rest of the result. But if it is going to work, we're going to play them. For if it is close, or if it is, monumentous important that you score 3 touchdowns instead of 2, or whatever, then we're just going to play it out. And I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how the players feel about that. I'll talk to them about it beforehand, of course. So yeah, I mean, I suppose the other sort of mental questions in my head are, I have the rules. I have them. I can play these. The other question in my head is, I'm picturing something akin to 20 teams across the league. That means 10 games in any given cohort of games. You are likely to have 10. One of them is going to be played out by the players over the span of, let's say, 2 game sessions. So that gives you 2 weeks, so 14 days to play 9 more of these by yourself. If you want to, by myself. I am Bob Dole, says he doesn't want to play 9 of these games. But yeah, right. I mean, so so that's a lot, right? That's potentially quite a few of these, and if these last 4 hours apiece, that's a lot of time. That's 36 hours. That's a part-time job I've just taken on to play this Blood Bowl analog on my own. So I do have one player who is very interested in this as a rule set generally, who said he would probably take some of those off my hands, and so that's good, and maybe that works. Because I would like to have some of these simulated. I will probably not play all of them. I will probably handwave some of them and just make some stuff up for effect. But it'd be nice to play a couple and get sort of a feel for them and figure out sort of what is reasonable and what makes sense, and have some news for them and some rumors. Oh, Thrud and Blunder got his leg broken in the last, right? Things that you might be able to hand wave or so on, but it'd be nice to simulate and have a dynamic simulation going on around them too. Ideally, you want them to be in the mix all year, and vying for something, right? And we haven't talked about sort of what the Uber, if there's any Uber plot or not, because I think there are a couple. I don't think you can play for no stake, right? One of the appeals of this is it's a low stakes game, right? Our last game's all the blight is coming, right? It's all icky and fungusy and it's all nasty and right, it's the end of the world as we know it kind of thing. And this is absolutely not that. The goal is almost to turn that around and say, nope, we are playing a game. It is lighthearted. It is. I mean, it can be serious at the moment. It can be serious, and for certainly, I would like to take it seriously in the sense that we all play it to win it. But the stakes aren't serious, right? You're playing for whatever. So I think we've talked about it before a little bit, and the one character, maybe he's, was the veteran and his team got cursed and broken up, right? And he's sort of trying to relive that glory, and so he pulls together these ragtag folk together, something like that, right? There's got to be just something going on that we can tie a whole year to, kind of. But you would like them to be in the mix the entire time, and then have that goal just creeping out of reach, and just have them strive for that. And I think that's sort of where we want to be in terms of the story all year. So to that end, you're going to manipulate those those other teams' games a little bit to make sure that everything works out. And you want teams that they hate because they're winning all the time, or cheat maybe and win and stuff like that, right? You want the lovable loser, or the losers that are playing dirt, or what. You want that whole milieu of, what makes a sports league awesome. Well, we hate the Yankees because they're the frickin' Yankees, and they suck because they drain the soul of baseball. And the lovable Pirates, who could not win, could not string together 5 games to save their lives. And you want sort of that same vibe in this, I think, too. So, anyway, that is what I am planning. I don't know if it's going to fly. I think I'm going to talk to everyone this week coming to see sort of and if anybody has any hardcore, I don't think I want to do that, dude. Or, right? And so we're going to see how that goes. In the meantime, I do have the super early draft of the base rules. Now, this has nothing to do with experience gain and your characters getting better. And so there's a lot left to be desired. And there's a lot of assumptions in here. It assumes you know how to play the base game that we're playing right now and fight in there. So, I mean, there is that. But the rules are there. So I think I'm going to probably run a few turns of a game here, and maybe we, see how it goes and so on. So keep posted. I'm just rambling at this point. It's I don't know, it's 10 at night or something here. And I was just putzing around, and I figured you know what? I will tell YouTube to give two shits about my tabletop game. I will tell YouTube about my new tabletop game idea that is going to go horribly badly, and I will keep you posted. So thank you, and I will talk to you all later.